Deep inside the Arctic Circle, the mountains of northern Norway drop straight into black fjords, and between them, in the middle of the day, a city glows. From above, Tromsø at noon looks like embers scattered across the snow. Every streetlight is on, and it will stay that way until spring. Down on the streets, the coffee shops are full, children are walking home from school, and nobody is behaving as if something is wrong. This city of around 78,000 people is about to spend 2 months without seeing the sun. And here is the part that almost no one believes. Most of the people who live here do not dread it. Many of them look forward to it. So stay for the whole season. From the last sunset of the year to the first sunrise of the next. This is what a polar night actually feels like. On a day in late November, the local newspapers in Tromsø print a small, strange notice. It gives a time in the early afternoon, and it reads less like a weather report and more like a farewell. On that day, the sun rises just after 11, drags itself along the rim of the mountains for a little over an hour, and then goes down. It will not come up again until the middle of January. Children born in these weeks will be nearly 2 months old before daylight ever touches their faces. People here have a quiet habit on that afternoon. They step outside, on a bridge, on a hillside, in a parking lot, and they watch it go. Someone photographs it. Someone raises a coffee cup toward the horizon, half joking, half not. There is no ceremony and no sadness in it. It is the way you see off a friend who travels every year and always comes back. The date of the return is already known. It is printed in the same newspapers. Visitors find the calm unsettling. Locals find the visitors amusing. To them, the last sunset is not a loss. It is a starting gun for a different season. One with its own name, its own foods, its own light, and its own rules, all of which this journey is about to walk through. The reason is simple and worth 30 seconds, because this is real astronomy and not a trick. The Earth is tilted on its axis by about 23.5 degrees. In winter, the top of the planet leans away from the sun. Tromsø sits at 69 degrees north, far above the Arctic Circle. And for 2 months, the sun simply cannot climb over the horizon, no matter what time the clock says. The city keeps spinning through day and night. The light just never arrives. What follows is called mørketid, the dark time. And it does not fall like a curtain. It comes in slowly, over weeks, the days shrinking a few minutes at a time, like a tide going out. The next morning, alarm clocks across the city ring at 7, exactly as they always have. And that is where things begin to get strange. Watch one square in the middle of Tromsø from the same camera 3 times in one day. 9 in the morning, dark, street lights on, people walking fast with coffee. 12 noon, a deep blue glow in the south. the streetlights still on. 8 in the evening, dark again, identical to the morning. Put the 3 pictures side by side, and you cannot tell which is which. That is the entire riddle of the polar night in 3 frames. Not the cold, the clock. Every signal your body uses to know what time it is has been switched off. Visitors describe the first week as gentle jet lag that never lands. You check your watch constantly, not because you have somewhere to be, but because your instincts have stopped answering. Lunch feels like midnight. Midnight feels like lunch. The locals watch this happen to every newcomer with the patience of people who have seen it many times, and then they share the fix, which their grandparents figured out long ago. And yet, nothing here stops. The kindergartens open at 7:30. The buses run on schedule. Offices fill by 8, in the dark, and empty by 4, in the dark. The swimming halls glow like aquariums. The gyms are full. The library reading rooms are booked. The city made a decision generations ago that the sun does not set the timetable. People do. Norwegians did not adjust their day to the darkness. They simply refused to negotiate with it. The body, however, does try to negotiate. With no sunlight, the brain keeps producing melatonin, the sleep hormone, far into the morning. Left alone, a human being in this darkness would drift, sleeping later and later, unspooling from the clock. So the people of the north build their own mornings by hand, bright lamps at breakfast, exercise before work, fixed hours, kept with a discipline that surprises visitors. In the polar night, a routine is not a habit. It is a piece of safety equipment. Which raises the obvious question every visitor asks: what about the children? The answer is waiting outside a kindergarten in a row of parked prams, and it is not what you expect. Outside a kindergarten in Tromsø, in the middle of the polar night, there is a row of prams parked in the snow. Inside the prams, in wool and down, are sleeping babies. This is not neglect. This is the system. Across Norway, infants take their daily nap outdoors in winter, at kindergartens and on home balconies, in temperatures down to about -10 degrees Celsius. Parents here will tell you, with complete calm, that children sleep deeper and longer in cold, fresh air. And the teachers check the prams on a rotation, as regular as a ward round. When it gets colder than that, or the wind picks up, the naps move inside. Until then, the pram line stands in the dark like a small, well-dressed act of defiance. Grandmothers walking past nod at it approvingly. They slept out here too. The older children are not indoors either. Norway runs entire kindergartens built around friluftsliv, the open-air life, where 4-year-olds spend most of the day in the forest, in the dark months too, with head torches, campfires, and thermoses of warm squash. They learn to use a knife before they learn to read. Teachers carry the emergency gear and the marshmallows. Watch a line of them move through the trees at midday, each child a small bobbing cone of lamplight, and you understand something about this country's future. Nobody here will grow up afraid of the dark. The dark is where they had their childhood. Behind all of it stands a single sentence, and it may be the most Norwegian sentence ever spoken. Det finnes ikke dårlig vær, bare dårlige klær. Bad weather does not exist, only bad clothes do. It rhymes in Norwegian. Parents say it, teachers say it, the national broadcaster says it. It is less a proverb than a national operating instruction, and wool is its uniform. From October onward, every child in the country is dressed from the skin out in layers of it. A childhood like that produces a particular kind of adult, one who checks the forecast, dresses accordingly, and goes, which is exactly the kind of adult you are about to meet, holding a spoon. Every winter morning, in kitchens across Norway, the same small ritual takes place. A bottle comes out of the fridge, a spoon comes out of the drawer, and children make the same face their parents made 40 years ago. This is tran, cod liver oil, and it is Norway's oldest answer to the missing son.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
The logic is precise. Skin makes vitamin D from sunlight, and for 2 months there is none. But the cod of the northern seas store that same vitamin in their livers, along with omega-3 fats. Long before anyone could spell vitamin, coastal Norwegians had noticed that fishing families who took the oil stood straighter through the winter. A pharmacist named Peter Müller worked out how to extract the oil cleanly back in 1854, and his name is still on the bottle in most Norwegian homes. For decades in the last century, a spoonful of tran was part of an official school breakfast program in Oslo. Picture it, an entire nation lined up by height, dosed with liquid sunlight before its first lesson. The taste is famous, and famously endured. Ask any Norwegian about tran, and watch their face do 2 things at once, a grimace and a smile.
It's good.
It is the flavor of every winter of their childhood, and most of them now hold the spoon for their own children. The modern arsenal is bigger. In many homes and offices sits a white lamp of 10,000 lux, many times brighter than ordinary room light, and people sit in front of it with their morning coffee the way other people sit on a sunny terrace. Half an hour in the early morning is the usual prescription, and it works best before 9. Libraries lend the lamps out like books. Some workplaces put them in the canteen, next to the fruit bowl. One more piece of standard equipment for the season. And then there are the windows. Walk through a Norwegian town on a December evening, and you notice that almost nobody closes their curtains. Candles, brass lamps, paper advent stars, all of it glowing out into the street, entirely on purpose. In the dark months, the light in your window is not private. It is a small public service offered to everyone who walks past. A town in the polar night is not a dark town. It is a constellation, arranged at street level, one living room at a time. Here is the secret the word darkness hides. The polar night is not black. For a few hours in the middle of each day, when the hidden sun passes just below the horizon, the whole world turns a deep, luminous blue. Photographers call it the blue hour, and in most places, it lasts 20 minutes. Here, it lasts all of midday. The snow turns blue, the fjord turns blue, the mountains hold the color like glass. Against all that blue, every human light burns gold. Windows, street lamps, the headlights of the airport bus. The contrast is so clean, it looks designed. People who came expecting 2 months of night discover instead a long, slow twilight that no other latitude gets to keep. It changes how the town looks at itself. Painters here work in a palette other studios have to invent. Wedding photographers book the dark months solid. Even the fjord ferries seem staged. Small gold rooms sliding across a world of blue glass. If the polar night were only this, tourists would come for the color alone. The snow does the rest. Fresh snow reflects most of whatever light touches it, so the little light there gets used twice. On clear nights, a full moon over snowfields is bright enough to throw shadows, bright enough to ski by. In the deep of winter, at this latitude, there are stretches when the moon barely bothers to set at all, circling the sky like a pale stand-in, doing the sun's shift. Photographers fly here from the other side of the planet for this light. The people of Tromsø walk to work in it, and some of them will tell you, quietly, that when the sun finally returns in January, the thing they miss is the blue. There is a sound to this season too, and it is the absence of one. Snow swallows echoes. Traffic hushes. On windless days, the town runs at the volume of a library, and people speak of hearing things the summer never lets them hear. The fjord moving, a dog 3 streets away, their own footsteps keeping time. If you think a region in permanent night would shut down, the far north of Norway has 130 years of timetables that say otherwise. In 1893, a captain named Richard With steered a steamship north along this coast and started a service the country still runs today, Hurtigruten, the Coastal Express. Its ships leave Bergen year-round and thread through 34 ports on the way to Kirkenes at the top of the country. They sail straight through the polar night on schedule, the way they have through 2 world wars and every storm since. Norwegians call the route their highway number 1. In the dark months, the ship's arrival is the pulse of the small towns. It brings the cars, the freight, the mail, the visitors at the same hour, in the same darkness, every single day. The town of Hammerfest solved the darkness another way, and astonishingly early. In 1891, 2 of its merchants saw a strange new technology demonstrated at a fair in Paris and brought it home. That year, this small fishing town near the top of the world became the first urban settlement in Northern Europe with electric streetlights. Read that again. While the great capitals of the continent were still debating gas lamps, a fishing town in the polar night went electric. The place with the least daylight in Europe was among the very first to switch on the lamps. Darkness, it turns out, is an excellent motivator. And in Kirkenes, on the Russian border, the polar night is harvest season. Out on the frozen fjord, men drill holes through the ice and pull up red king crabs the size of car tires. The crabs themselves are one of history's strangest arrivals. In 1959, Soviet scientists carried 10 female crabs and 5 males across the entire continent from the Pacific and released them near Murmansk. The species marched west along the seabed, and in January 1977, the first one surfaced in a Norwegian net. Today, they are an industry, hauled out of the dark sea in the middle of the dark day and served within the hour. Nobody up here waits for spring to make a living. The fishing boats go out into the noon darkness with their deck lights blazing, small moving islands of work on a black sea. The sea does not take the winter off, so neither do they. Now for the question the whole world asks about this place. 2 months without sunlight. Surely an epidemic of depression. An American psychologist thought so too. Kari Leibowitz came to Tromsø on a Fulbright scholarship to study how badly the polar night damages mental health, and found something that upended the assignment. By the standard measures, rates of self-reported winter depression in this Arctic city were about the same as in Maryland, thousands of kilometers to the south, where winter means a light jacket. The darkness was total. The epidemic was missing. She checked the numbers again. They held. What she found instead was a difference in thinking so consistent she gave it a name: the wintertime mindset. People here do not talk about surviving winter. They talk about using it. Ski season, aurora season, book season, candle season, the season of slow food and long visits. The language itself cooperates because mørketid means the dark time, a period with contents and an end date, not a punishment. And in her data, one pattern stood out above the rest. The further north people lived, the more positive their view of winter became. The people with the most darkness had the best relationship with it. The mindset was not held despite the polar night. It was built from it, the way sea legs are built from the sea. Honesty requires the other half. Not everyone sails through. January is the heavy month, when the novelty is gone and the light is still weeks away. Doctors here take that seriously, with lamps, with vitamin D, with blunt advice to move your body daily and keep your hours fixed. Some people leave for the south, and no one judges them for it. The polar night does not attack anyone. It simply waits for you to drop your routine, and the locals know better than to let it. Leibowitz eventually wrote a book about what the North taught her, and it was not written for Norwegians, who need no convincing. It was written for the rest of us at kinder latitudes who spend 3 mild months complaining. The shortest version fits in one line. Winter is coming either way, and the story you tell yourself about it decides most of what happens next. The polar night keeps its best payment for last. Tromsø sits directly beneath the auroral oval, the ring around the magnetic pole where the northern lights burn most often, and the darkness that hides the sun is precisely what reveals them. In summer, the aurora is still there, dancing over the rooftops in complete secrecy. You just cannot see it through the daylight. The dark time is the price of the ticket, and the ticket is good for the entire season. The colors have their own hierarchy. Green is the everyday aurora, common enough that locals barely break stride for it. Purple and red are the rare visitors that empty living rooms. And on the strongest nights, the whole sky moves at once, folding and unfolding like fabric, fast enough to make first-time viewers gasp out loud in the snow. On active nights, phones across the city buzz with aurora alerts the way other cities get traffic warnings. Cafes half empty in a minute. People stand in supermarket parking lots, heads back, groceries at their feet, watching green fire pour across the sky. The science takes one breath to tell. Charged particles from the sun, funneled by the Earth's magnetic field, striking the upper air until it glows. The experience takes longer to describe, and locals mostly do not try. They just point up. Tourists spend thousands chasing what schoolchildren here see on the walk home. That is the strange economy of this latitude. Its greatest luxury falls out of the sky, free, above the bus stop, and the only admission fee is the darkness everyone already paid. There is one more thing the sky owes this town, and it is worth knowing before the story ends. The same tilt of the Earth that takes the sun away in November hands it back with interest in May. From late spring, the sun does not set over Tromsø for 2 full months. The debt of the polar night is repaid in white nights, midnight hikes, and sunburn at 2 in the morning. No place keeps its accounts with the sky more precisely than the Arctic. But before the light comes back, the darkness has one more season to give, the deepest one. In late December comes the winter solstice, and here it is, a strange, beautiful technicality, the shortest day of the year, in a place that has no day at all. Nothing visible changes, and yet everything does, because from that morning on, the light is coming back, minute by minute, even though no one will see it for weeks. The turn happens in the dark, on faith and arithmetic. Locals mention it to each other in passing, the way farmers mention rain that has been promised. We are over the hump now. It is on its way. It is no accident that the North placed its greatest festival exactly here. Jul, the Norwegian Christmas, sits in the deepest hole of the year like a bonfire, built in advance. The markets glow. The baking runs for weeks. Families gather on the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, in rooms lit almost entirely by flame. Long before the holiday had its current name, the people of these latitudes were lighting fires at midwinter for one simple reason. When the world goes dark, you answer with light. The instinct is older than any calendar on the wall. Out on the tundra, the Sami herders keep their own midwinter rhythm, moving among reindeer that carry the dark season the way they carry the snow, patiently, built for it. Herd work does not pause for holidays. Animals are fed in lamplight, counted in lamplight, born, sometimes, in lamplight. A herder's headlamp, sweeping across 1,000 pairs of reflecting eyes, is one of the great, unphotographed sights of the Norwegian winter. And then comes January, the quiet month. The guests go home, the decorations come down, and the dark time asks its hardest questions. This is the stretch that tests even the born and raised, the weeks when the wintertime mindset earns its keep. The city answers the way it always has. It keeps its hours. It lights its windows. It swims, skis, bakes, and borrows lamps from the library. And it starts counting down, because the newspapers have already printed the next date that matters. Here is a detail almost too good to be true. Above the mountains of Tromsø, the sun technically climbs back over the horizon around the middle of January, but the city cannot see it. For one more week, the mountains hold it back, and the whole town waits like a child at the top of the stairs. Then, on the 21st of January, if the sky is clear, sunlight touches the streets of the city center for the first time in 2 months. The day has a name, printed in the calendar like a public holiday: Soldagen, the Sunday. If it is cloudy, the town shrugs and celebrates anyway, on the sensible grounds that the sun is up there, whether it shows itself or not. Nobody treats it like an ordinary Tuesday. School children are taken outside or up the hillsides at midday. Officers drift towards south-facing windows. Thousands of people gather at viewpoints with thermoses of hot chocolate, and the bakeries work like it is a national holiday, because it nearly is. By local counts, the people of this city eat tens of thousands of solboller on that single day. Sweet sunbuns filled with cream and jam, golden as the guest of honor, in a town of 78,000 people. The math says almost everyone is holding one. And then it happens. A rim of impossible orange light slides over the mountains, and for a few minutes, that is all there is. People cheer. People go quiet. Strangers photograph strangers. Faces lit like lanterns. Every year, without fail, some of them cry and are not embarrassed about it. It is only the sun doing what the calendar promised. It feels like nothing of the kind. Ask them afterward. Faces still turn south, whether they hate the darkness that just ended, and you will get the answer no visitor expects. Most will shake their heads. The dark time is theirs. The blue light, the candles, the auroras, the quiet, and by late autumn, many will be quietly looking forward to it again. On a bridge in late November, they will gather once more to see the sun off, calm as always, because this is the deal their city made with the sky long ago. 2 months of night, honestly paid for a morning like this one. So, honestly, could you live through 2 months without a sunrise? One word, yes or no. And if you have actually lived through a polar night, tell us the one thing nobody warned you about. We read everything. Subscribing keeps the lights on for journeys like this.